Hello, hello, hello. We are live. How's it going? This is Lisa Lajoie, business intuitive and spiritual mentor. Really happy again to be able to just have a platform to share and to be able to serve and support maybe something that you might be feeling also. And sometimes when we get inspiration and we feel that like I feel today about sharing something that's been super important to me, often it will serve and help others in the process as well. So today I wanted to talk to you about vulnerability and that voice of vulnerability that lives inside of us and how to work with it, what to do about it, how to what do how do you handle your own vulnerability? And I have been able to transform my life in a couple of ways using vulnerability as the transformational opportunity and the transformational tool, because I can realize, or I have realized over the course of my life, that vulnerability is the key to victory. That when you are allowing yourself to hear that vulnerability inside and hear the voice of what you're really experiencing in any circumstance, in any situation, in any way, it's very important. Okay, that was fun. I got the boot. How's it going again? Okay, here we are. I was talking about vulnerability and okay, I'm back. That was crazy. That was funny. That was funny. Um Hold on. I'm just going to close my other tab so we can hang out here again. All right. Are we good to go? Sorry about that, folks. Please, you can leave comments. I could actually see them. So if you want to leave comments, I would love to hear from you as well. So I was talking about the voice of vulnerability and a couple of ways I wanted to share with you how I was able to transform, and I've helped other people as well in my with my clients also transform the experience of vulnerability and what kind of mindset you have to be in to be able to embrace it. I know over the years, many people have talked about, and Brene Brown being one of those people, or other leaders have talked about vulnerability and the sharing that, the voice of it and sharing your story, what makes you feel the most vulnerable, can be a healing journey, and I'm more of the mindset of that's true, but you need a starting point. So you have to get comfortable with vulnerability. You need to have the first stage, which is let me embrace my vulnerability and realize that its transformational nature is available to me, and that there is some transformations that I can make around vulnerability, and that I can allow myself the space to become victorious about the things that I feel vulnerable about, by allowing myself to investigate what is making me feel vulnerable. So the first one of the ways you start with is, what is it that makes you feel vulnerable? Being truthful and fearless, in a sense of being willing to dive into your vulnerabilities. What makes you feel insecure? What makes you feel vulnerable? What makes you feel like I can't do it. I'm too nervous. I'm not able to face that. I'm not able to look at it. I don't even want to think about it. What are you avoiding that makes you feel vulnerable? So the first thing is making that decision to do the investigation, to dive into what you're really feeling about certain subjects, situations, people, places, things, whatever it is, and standing with that feeling, with that sensation, and letting yourself hear it fully. So oftentimes vulnerability comes out in the mind chatter, like distraction, overwhelm, resistance, not wanting to face something, not wanting to look at a specific situation or circumstance, and you feel it, like you're like pushing back, pushing back, pushing back. I don't want to. 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 That's a feeling of vulnerability that you can identify. So where are in your life are you avoiding telling yourself the truth? That's the first thing. Second way that I've helped use transformation to transform my vulnerability and use the vulnerability as a transformational tool is then to dive into it, to realize my vulnerability can become my victory because I'm willing to look at what's going on straight in the face and then take some actions that can change what I'm vulnerable about by listening to the vulnerability. Because through listening to the vulnerability, you can find out where your weak spots are. You can find out where your insecurities are. And by facing it and embracing it and just saying, well, I'm just going to sit with you and really let the emotions come out. Let the voice that's inside my head and my heart that is like asking me to not look at a specific area of my life, I'm going to dive in. I'm going to find my fierce faith in myself. I'm going to develop some self-trust because that's what it takes to do this. And I'm going to show up to that voice because there's nothing better for you than to realize your vulnerability is trying to get your attention. And to have this mindset, my vulnerability is trying to get my attention because all the dreams that I have in the world, all the things that I want are being held back by what I'm not willing to face. Consciousness empowerment is about being willing to face whatever's coming up inside you, because through facing what's coming up inside you, you can turnkey it into transformation. You can change your mind about what you're telling yourself. You can see what mindset is bringing you down. You can find out what beliefs are associated with you need to transform and change. And then you can turn that vulnerability into victory because you're willing to listen to what is going on the inside to change what's going on the outside. And I'm telling you, once you realize what's making you vulnerable, you're going to be able to embrace it. And it happens so quickly by just exposing the vulnerability. You immediately will show up as that warrior who wants to take some fierce action, who wants to move forward, who wants to do something about it, who cares and wants to show up to the change that's being offered by what's making you feel really uncomfortable. And vulnerability is a very uncomfortable feeling. But once you understand what's making you feel vulnerable, anytime you're in the same circumstance, you're going to know that you need to show up to yourself in a very specific and concise way with a certain element of commitment and conscious choice that will allow you to take the vulnerability and turnkey it into a transformation because you're willing to hear yourself. You're willing to deep dive for yourself. You're willing to step into a place of like honoring and embracing who you are. And that in itself is so uplifting and empowering that your vulnerability will instantly start to transform and move into a victorious position. Victory means embracing all that you are and winning in a situation and circumstances, even if it's within yourself. And what does winning mean when you're transforming something that's deep down inside? Winning means not feeling it anymore. Winning means not experiencing being held back by whatever's making you feel vulnerable to your life, to yourself, to your relationships, to whatever's going on in your world, to yourself, whatever it is that's making you feel. Maybe it's the next step of what you have to do in your business and you're just feeling really insecure about it and you don't know what to do. Maybe you have to have some conversations with people and break some chains in your relationships because some people that are around you are not really serving you. Maybe you have to say some hard things to your kids or to your husband or your wife, and you're nervous about it because you don't know what it's going to bring. You're nervous about it ending. You feel vulnerable about how you're going to express yourself. You're not sure what to do. The minute you say, I'm going to dive into this and see what's going on, and I'm going to embrace it and find my way through it. Not like I'm just going to like dive into my vulnerability. Vulnerability diving means you also have to come up with steps and some insights, because the insights become what you have to work on. And then you get to work on that. The other thing that helps a lot, and it helps me a lot, is making sure that you're connected to your spiritual self and you're connected to the power of your own faith in yourself and the messages that are coming from inside. Doing the Cosmic Capsule, and today is the launch day. I'm doing 4 sessions today and tomorrow around conscious change and what it means. And conscious change and conscious revolution and consciousness is something that one of my clients talks about a lot, and I love her for it. Her name is Julianne. She's going to come on today and talk with me a little bit about what that is going to mean and what it means to be vulnerable, what it means to be consciously aware, what it means to actually step into your true state of power, because you know that you have choices and that you know that your vulnerability is just a reflection of what you're not choosing. or what you're putting down. You don't want to be conscious of something in your life. So having spiritual tools is critical. Having tools that make transformation is critical. So if you haven't joined, please feel free to join. I would love to have you there and to work on these concepts of soul consciousness, of intuition consciousness, of energy consciousness, of your chakra consciousness. Because when you know all of you, you're able to navigate these vulnerabilities in a much easier fashion, because it's really hard just to do everything as a human being. We mostly feel extremely vulnerable as people. Our souls don't really feel vulnerable. Our connections to higher realms don't really feel vulnerable. We feel vulnerable because we don't understand what's happening to us, and we don't know how to get through the door into embracing what it is that is making us feel that way, realizing we have to take actions and make some choices that will change the course of our consciousness and change the course of our results, and that we become victorious because we know what's happening within, and then we can make a decision that will say, no, I'm devoted to my transformation. I'm designed to make transformation as a divine human being, and I'm doing it. And that's it. I'm doing it. So remember what you have to do. Remember that it's really important to get your faith and courage and dive into your vulnerability, because the minute you do that, you cut the vulnerability down by 50% and more, because just the decision that you're willing to go there. Resistance pushes us away from our victory. Embracing pulls us into our victory. Owning what's going on pulls us into our victorious state. So I hope this has helped you. Hopefully I'll see you today at 3 and at 7, because we're going to have some fun. And I wish you the best. Don't worry about being vulnerable. Every single person is vulnerable. All of us. We all have things that make us feel uncomfortable, that make us feel scared, that make us feel worried, that make us, uncomfortable. So please remember, you're extremely, extremely important, and it matters what you do. So hopefully I'll see you later today. Have yourself an amazing day, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.